They keep blocking the way and they have a gun. And this is dangerous. They shouldn't be standing so close to civilians like this. Anybody can take the gun from them and shoot other people. They shouldn't. The cameras required. I don't know how they're doing that. You know, shouldn't be blocking the way like this. One person hit me with their tail. In front of the Adidas store in Brooklyn, and I tried to report and went into the Adidas store. I was sitting on, I believe it's the same gang. It was a Spanish, had a tail like this. I was sitting in front of the Adidas store on 14 and Oit, and the female came and turned around and hit me with a tail and went into Adidas store. So I followed her. I told the security guard, I was like, look, a female just hit me with a tail like this. It was a Spanish female, and she came into your store. I said, just want you to help me set the camera footage up. I want to call the police. And the guy told me, you can't come into our store. Get away from me. So there's a gang they hired. My mother said her daughter's Bolanli and Flora are part of the gang. Especially that Bolanli, she believes the gang is into killing people for insurance fraud money. They said there was a female gang like that also. You have in America, there was, we go and lure homeless men to marry them, take this homeless man home, file insurance, life insurance policy on this homeless man after the marriage, kill this homeless man, and make the money. And they were traveling all around America doing the same thing. And it took a lot of years before they were uncovered. So my mother said those were trying to kill us for insurance fraud money around 2015. Bolanli and Flora said it was especially that Bolanli was into drugs and was moving with a gang. So my mother said that Bolanli was poisoning her food with car and food poison, and was giving my mother heart problems every time she eats food from this Bolanli. So my mother fled out Pennsylvania to come to New York, to go to the hospital. And my mother was in shock when that Bolanli also showed up in the hospital. My mother didn't say that Bolanli was hospital she was in. And when they saw my mother was starting to get better, they saw that they started trolling my mother in the hospital. Told the hospital to lock my mother up in a psychiatric ward of Bellevue Hospital, and told the hospital to remove her from the cardiac unit where my mother needed to be, because they had the breathing machine on her, and told the hospital to remove her from the cardiac unit and put her in the psych ward. I believe the hospital must have removed the breathing machine that my mother needed from her, and they were trying to place her in the psychiatric ward forcefully. They said that's when my mother collapsed and died, because my mother didn't want to go to psychiatric ward. She was telling the hospital that she's not crazy. So I believe that this gang that my mother's daughter is part of, believe why it's so easy to kill an African in this country. Like my mother was killed by locking her up in a psychiatric ward. It's so easy to injure an African and kill them in this country. Like my mother was killed in 2015 when my mother's daughter was poisoning my mother's food. Bolanli was poisoning my mother's food in Pennsylvania and then killed them in the hospital by going to the hospital to tell the hospital to lock my mother up in a psychiatric ward. So yesterday I was sitting here eating, and they have all these Spanish Black Americans that always call me nigger and stuff. They work for the Statue of Liberty tours. And I know these Americans, they don't really mix with the Africans that work for the Statue of Liberty tours. They isolate the Africans, I always sit underneath the tree because I'm homeless to eat my food. I don't pay them no mind. Then after eating my food, then they know after I finish eating, I would go to the Dwayne Reed store to buy water, because I'm always thirsty. I buy all this from the Dwayne Reed store. So, but the only thing I did different was, I was going on Instagram yesterday with my phone, in which, because I send messages to all these politicians. I'm getting attacked. My mother's daughters killed my mother, and my mother's daughters are part of the gang, especially Bolanli in Pennsylvania with our sister Flora. I said I'm getting attacked. So I sent messages to Jumaane Williams, to all these politicians, even Eric Adams, the police commissioner. So I decided to sit there yesterday. I used this other phone to be going on Instagram. I don't have the minutes on my phone, but I remember there's a free Wi-Fi in this neighborhood called Downtown Alliance. But anytime I try to log in, it wouldn't log me in. So I said, let me try this time around. And it wouldn't log me in, so I kept trying. So I noticed, there's a sign-in button I had to press. I accept their condition of service. I pressed it. I said, oh wow, so the Wi-Fi really works. So I went on Instagram, and on their Instagram, they have a lot of racy pictures, a lot of black American males, that will show their body parts and stuff. And sometimes I look through all those pictures before I find the politicians to send them messages. I'm also a gay transsexual. So I must admit, I look at the pictures. They have some real sexy or whatever sex. I don't really go there for that, but it's all in your face. It's all in your face. So I was underneath the umbrella just looking at some of those pictures and trying to see if any of the politicians responded to me. I sent them messages on Instagram, and none of them responded. So I got up to leave to go buy my water from the Dwayne Reed. All of a sudden, this black American guy said, keep going, don't you ever stop, you fucking nigger, I'll fuck you up, I'll kill all you niggers, I was like, excuse me? And he came hitting me. So apparently, this gang wants to kill me and don't want people to know that I'm gay, I have attraction to guys, wants to kill me, and then because I don't have a child, I'm unmarried. They say there's a section in American law called parenting estoppel, that basically you can claim somebody is the parent of your child, and if the person doesn't deny it within 4 years, forever and ever that person is the parent of your child. So I believe this gang wants to kill me, and then claim the homelessness got me crazy, and I was fighting all these black Americans and they killed me, and then sue the city of New York for rendering me and my mother homeless in 2010, and get all the money, and then adopt all these children. So when I was alive, I've always said I wanted many children, and they're adopting those children because I never had a child, and I don't have a child now. So I believe that they're working with under this section of American law, and then illegally transfer all of my assets to pay all these gang members that were joining and killing me. I believe they're relying on my mother's daughter to come up with that lie, because she used to work in a law firm and she has a master's degree from University of Pennsylvania. So I'm getting followed and taunted and stuff. Hey, sir! Hello? Hey! Can I ask you a question? Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask him something, but he ran away from me. He said he works for the city bank. I'd asked him, if I could, if he has a job, and he was just playing games with me. He said he works for the city bank. So I've been seeing him coming around me everywhere I go. I just saw him again today, so that's why I'm like, okay, what is going on? Can I ask you a question? He quickly ran away from me. But after I asked him that I'm looking for a job, and it was just, menacing me. But after that, I started seeing him everywhere I go. So that's why I wanted to, I wanted to record him, like, what is going on? How come I keep seeing you every day, after that, but apparently, so whatever, So back to what I'm saying, they sometimes try to photobomb me. So there's a group of black Americans here that just menace me, So back to what I was saying. So yesterday, I used this Wi-Fi, because a lot of times I would just try to log into this Wi-Fi, and I was shocked it's not working. So apparently, then yesterday I discovered I have to sign in. I thought it was just automatic. So because it would say connected, but it's not really connected. I still have to sign in. So yesterday I was able to discover, like, so I clicked accept yesterday. Accept and connect. Then I went on Instagram. So I went on Instagram. So there's all these guys with their racy pictures. Like this guy, for example, I clicked on him. He always has a racy picture. It's like I have it all, but I don't have to worry. Married to the You know. So I looked at his I looked at his he always has basic pictures there. You know, he always has basic pictures. You know, so I looked at it at his it's always updating his profile page. Had him more basic picture, yeah, he had his basic picture like this. So I looked at it yesterday and stuff, you know. And as I was waiting to see if the politicians I've been sending message to have responded back to me, you know, and none of them responded. You know, so I've been telling them I'm getting attacked by black Americans and stuff. You know, I'm trying to. I'm trying to. Okay. So I'm trying to get to my message box. This is my message box. You know, this is me sending the messages to FIFA, to everybody. Say, please help me. My mother's been killed in America, and you're bringing the World Cup here. You know, and the FIFA is like they're also making fun of me. They were like, you know, they're trying to promote unity, and with the World Cup, that's why they bring it to America. They're trying to promote love. You know, so before my mother died, a pastor in Nigeria told her to unite with everybody, that she shouldn't, because she was having problems with her daughters, because her daughters were very out of control. So my mother listened to her Pastor Joshua. She went and stayed with her daughters in Pennsylvania. And my mother said as soon as she got there, the daughters were poisoning her food, but only I was trying to kill her, and within a year my mother died. You know, so I believe, you know, because I've been under immigration surveillance since my mother brought me in 2000. My mother had a green card, I had a green card also. And we came to America, you know, and they arrested me at JFK Airport, 6 years now welcome in America. So they put me under FBI surveillance for 25 years now. It took like 8 years to resolve that case. My mother paid $15,000 to different lawyers, you know. So I've been sending videos to FIFA, you know, saying please, I'm getting attacked every day. You know, can you please tell America to, you know, to investigate what is happening? My mother's been killed. And before my mother died, she traveled to Nigeria around 2004, and she met with Pastor Joshua of the Synagogue Church in Nigeria. He prayed for her, and he says, he prophesied that she should forgive everybody that's ever done wrong to her. And because our daughters were always abusing her, even when my mother came from Nigeria in 1998, she was living with her daughters, her daughters tried to kill her in Pennsylvania, so she ran away as soon as she arrived from Nigeria in 1998. You know, the daughter had filed a green card for her because the daughter, Bolan, is a U.S. citizen. And when she came here to America, she said it was so odd. She thought the daughter would welcome her, but she said the daughter was on drugs and wouldn't feed my mother. So my mother had just come from Nigeria and she couldn't get a job. So my mother had to flee Pennsylvania within weeks of arriving and came here to New York and was sleeping in a shelter. And so while she was in the shelter, somebody tried to stab her with a knife. So in 1998, she would come to this ferry, you know, and she was going to school to become a home health aide. And so one day she was praying this ferry, and a white Catholic from this church woman gave her a rosary and said, you know, woman of God, God would answer your prayers. And so soon after that, she got a job as a home health aide, and she rented a room on Staten Island, and she came to Nigeria to pick me, you know, because the woman from the church across the street there, I believe, told that woman, my mother was almost, she always hangs out around here, you know, and wait till nighttime to go to the shelter in Brooklyn, you know, because after she leaves school, she would just hang out on the ferry boat, and at nighttime she'll go to the shelter in Brooklyn. And so one person pulled a knife on her in Brooklyn, you know, and that's where she fled. And she has a friend on Staten Island there who was black American, so she went to stay with a friend. And then after she passed the home methods nursing assistant school, she rented a room by herself. And she came to Nigeria to pick me, and she was telling me she's so sorry that she had to, you know, wait a while to pick me. She had her daughters after she got here to America. You know, the daughters were abusing her in Pennsylvania, so she had to flee Pennsylvania to come to New York City. One of the daughters was on drugs. I was trying to kill her, but you know, I wouldn't buy food in the house. So my mother as soon as my mother brought me here with the green card, I was arrested at JFK, $600 in America. So my mother had to spend like $15,000. I had to go to immigration court for 8 years. So like, you know, so my mother was always going from one problem to another. So she went to Nigeria in 2003, and Pastor Joshua told her, in the synagogue church. It's a very big church. Many Americans go there also to pray. He told her God wants her to forgive everybody, to reunite with everybody, and say all is good, all is going to be fine. So my mother came back to America again. We were staying here in Staten Island. In 2010, the police came and kicked us out of our home without a court order. So my mother went to stay with her daughters in 2014, because it was hard to get another place to live. And as soon as my mother stayed with her daughters, that daughter, Bolani, was trying to poison her again, kill her again, and so my mother fled back to New York by 2015 to go to the hospital, and that daughter came to New York to find her in the hospital and told the hospital to lock her up in a psychiatric ward. That daughter was born in America. Told the hospital to lock her up. So she's, and my mother, and my mother with a Nigerian accent was trying to tell the hospital that the daughter has a problem, she's on drug, but they said, my mother said the hospital was discriminated against her, I guess because the daughter spoke American English. I was telling the hospital to lock my mother up in a psychiatric ward. So listen, you have to lock, and they locked my mother up, just remove her breathing tube, and my mother died. So I see that daughter always coming here also. Many times she comes here and some black Americans will be kicking me here. Say, nigger, get the fuck out of here, nigger. Yesterday they were doing the same thing to me. I'm like, what is going on in America? What is going on in America? So my mother said that daughter is part of a gang. I don't know if they plan to take over America, but they said that they're into insurance fraud. So they were beating me here, the black American gang, and they said, I'm going to kill all you the rest of you fucking niggers. So it's like a narcotic gang, and some of them work with the Statue of Liberty tour, So I guess what really angered them was, I guess that they feel, they in their fantasized view, they feel they can kill me because I don't have a child, I'm unmarried, and they feel they can kill me and claim, the homelessness from the city of New York, and the immigration arrested me and my mother, arrested me in 2000 when my mother brought me here, and the NYPD kicking us out of our room on Staten Island. So it made me crazy, and I was always fighting everybody, and I died during the fight, one of the fights. So I got a lot of money from the city of New York. It's under this Eric Adams, the black American mayor. It's just very corrupt. So who knows? It's also he used to be in prison for gang-related activity. So I guess they're trying to run a fraud scheme on the city of New York, kill me first, and blame it on the city of New York. So I was always coming here fighting people, and I died during one of the fights. And that's, the city of New York really made me crazy from being homeless. And then give a lot of money to this my mother's daughter, and I think she hopes to distribute it to a lot of these gangs. And so one of the ways they can distribute it is money laundering, to not make it look like money laundering, is because, there's something called right of sepulcher. In American law that even after somebody dies, you can lie that the person wants something, the person wants had a wish, a death wish, and the death wish is for them to adopt many children to sustain their legacy. And there's another law in America called parenting by estoppel. Parenting by estoppel. ESTOPPEL. So that, even if somebody's not the biological parent, if the person desires, expresses wish, they can be made a parent just based on their wish, and the person will be responsible for the upkeep of any child. They say it's an American law that criminals can exploit. They say, because little children, they don't want them to be confused. So if anybody expresses any wish to be a parent of the child, by under the parenting by estoppel, they can, the court can grant them that wish, even I guess postmortemly, even after death. So I believe this is the area of law they're working on, that they want to kill me. I don't have a child, I'm unmarried, and have my mother's daughter lie that, I wanted to adopt black American kids and every kid in America, and then she would now ask the city of New York to pay for all these kids. And they would now, all these black gangs, they start bringing their own children, to be collecting benefits. It says, so I believe this is why this is exciting all these gang members to join my mother's daughter. So they are running a fraud on taxpayers' money, potential fraud, and I believe there's some high-level officials in New York City government that with this scheme, And this is why I send videos to a lot of people and nobody responds back to me. They all pretend like they're no longer on Instagram. You know, they all pretend like they're no longer on Instagram and like you're quite on Instagram quite right. Why don't you respond to me? You know, and I send the video to FIFA also because they're doing the World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup here right now, and they're planning to bring the World Cup 2026 to New York. So apparently, it's like some iconics in America has told FIFA not to take me serious and just to mock me. So FIFA has been responding that this World Cup they're bringing to America is to promote love and unity. Love and unity. It doesn't sound suspicious. So before my mother died, I was under FBI surveillance since my mother brought me here in 2000 and I was arrested in JFK. So, you know, so they must have been listening to what my mother was telling me through the surveillance because, you know, once you have a cell phone, it says the FBI can always listen to me and turn the microphone on. So my mother went to Nigeria in 2003 and she said she went to Pastor Joshua's church to pray and he told her that she should forgive everybody that ever done wrong to her and reunite with them. So my mother was following this Pastor Joshua's instruction in 2014. When she didn't have a place to stay, she went to go stay with the daughters. The daughter, Bolani and Flora, in Pennsylvania City, were immediately trying to kill her again. And she came back to New York and they followed her here, told her to the hospital, lock her up in the sidewalk. And that's how my mother died. So it's like FIFA is making fun of me. So I'm telling FIFA my mother's killed by her daughters. Please help me tell the US government to investigate it. And FIFA said, you know, the World Cup, they're about promoting love and unity. You know, and they won't help me. They said, you know, and even the FIFA president said he knows Trump, is his friend, and Trump told him immigrants are safe in America, and he said he wants to promote love and unity with this World Cup. So it's like they're mocking the way my mother died. How do you force unity? How do you reunite with people that are trying to kill you? So they're making fun of my mother, that she listens to her pastor's advice, and now she's dead. You know, it's like they wish me dead also. So this is human trafficking, sex trafficking, abuse of the co-ops. And this FIFA needs to be sued. The international committee sued them. So this is what I'm experiencing. So I went upstairs to use the bathroom and there was this police officer blocking my way, you know, with their gun and stuff. And they're not supposed to do that. So there's a camera recorded it. There's a chance down after you go upstairs. You know, they brought the dog to sneak me and those police officers were blocking the entrance. You know, and they had a gun and everything. And if you have a live ammunition on you, you're not supposed to stand close to people. Because if the person is crazy, the person can sneak up on you and take the gun and shoot everybody. Or the person can bump into you mistakenly and you may think the person is trying to kill you and kill them. So the police are acting reckless around me. And they say yesterday America bombed Iran. Anytime, you know, America has a problem with foreign country, they always take it out on me. You know, so for the past few days now, America has been threatening to invade Iran. And, you know, this has been inciting all kinds of stuff against me. So yesterday, I was here going on Instagram trying to see if anybody has responded to my messages. All the politicians here, none of them responded to my messages, you know. So I was looking at some racy. So I'm also gay, transgender. So I was, you know, so I was just looking at some of the extradited pictures, you know, extradited pictures like this, you know, a lot of them, you know. So I was underneath the umbrella. You know, so and they knew I always go after I sit here to eat my food. I'll go and buy water with my food stamp card. And my food stamp card will show I'm in the neighborhood because once I swipe it. So, you know, so they believe it may be difficult for them to carry out their scheme and claim that I'm straight and I'm into, you know, having children and stuff. I just I couldn't find anybody while I'm alive to have a child with me. So they want to create many children for me in death to honor my wish, you know. So I believe that's why they sent out that black American to attack me, because, you know, they saw me that I was looking at pictures of guys. You know, a lot of them were showing off, you know, their body in very sexy ways, you know. You know, they do that a lot, you know. So they were like, so I guess that's what annoyed them. And they said it's like American to be kicking me, said, get up here, nigga, I'm gonna kill all you niggas, you know. And I called the police wouldn't help me. So they're afraid that, you know, the evidence will show that, you know, I'm not straight, I'm gay, and I do look at pictures of guys, and I do go shop with my debit card, my bank card, food stamp card, which so that's really me. So they're trying to scare me away from this neighborhood. Now that they've seen, you know, Now that they've seen that I cannot get internet here. Usually I can't get internet here. And sometimes, I try to use the internet here also. And they started, chasing me out from this area. So as soon as I come to the ferry, they said, leave, don't use the internet. Please don't use the internet. Please leave, please leave, please leave. We'll call the police on you. Even down here. Because I always use the internet here. So apparently, they've been chasing me away from this neighborhood because they're afraid that their lives wouldn't work. Because I always go on this Instagram. So this Instagram is the truth teller. And sometimes I look at pictures of guys with their, showing up their, racy pictures. I don't intend to look at it, but I'm gay, so I guess, and this is what they love them post. While I'm waiting for the politician to respond to me, I know the politician will respond to me. So, and then I'll go use my food stamp card to a store in Duane Reade. And they'll call the police on me in that store. Just stop coming here, please, we're afraid of you. I'm like, excuse me? So apparently, they're trying to destroy any evidence that will show I'm gay. And they appeal that they're trying to get me killed and get all my money, any asset I have to be given to my mother's daughters, to now launder the money by claiming under the right of sepulchre. I used to express my desire that I wanted kids. I was never close to my mother's daughter. They always lived in America, always lived in Nigeria. And the time my mother brought them to Nigeria, they used to beat me up. They were very cold to me. And when my mother brought them, sent them back to America, and they beat up the white family there in 1990 when they got here to America. The white family they were staying with. So they've been very violent, especially that Bolanle. She has a very violent history. So, and I've never expressed any desire to adopt any child or give birth to any child. I'm gay, I'm transsexual, I'm not looking to adopt anybody's child. I'm not looking to have any child. So I always put, in every post I post online to people, I always say, I'm not looking for any sexual relationship. I'm not looking for any surrogacy. So I believe, this is why they've been hiring people to scare me from this area. And this is because I always use my phone to log in. They have an internet here, international internet. They have an internet on the train station called Transit Wireless Internet. They call it Bolden. I believe it's made ridiculous because after my mother's daughters killed my mother, I sent her a text that you're really bold, to do that. So since then they changed the name of the Wi-Fi. I always use the Wi-Fi here, on every train station in particular. They used to call it New York City Transit Wi-Fi. Then they changed it to Bolden. They changed the name to Bolden. I think it's to mock me because they put me on surveillance for 25 years because of the immigration case I had. And all they do is mock me. Any terminology I use or somebody use close to me or my mother, they'll start using it in mockery ways. So they changed the name of the Wi-Fi in the transit to Bolden. So I'm trying to, see if I could catch the Wi-Fi. So they changed the name to Bolden Wi-Fi. I hope I don't fall down time to. Yeah, this is the Bolden. This is the New York City Transit. It was never called Bolden Wi-Fi. They used to call it New York City Transit. I don't know where they got the name Bolden. So after my mother's brothers killed my mother in 2015, I sent them a text. I said, you're very bold for what you did. You think you can get away with this. And since then they changed the name of the Wi-Fi here to New York City Bolden. And I used to come here, any of the train stations, not particularly this one. I used to come to any of these train stations, So let me just resign to show proof that, I will resign in to show proof. Let me just log out and try to log in back. Oh yeah. To the Bolden. I think sometimes the logo comes in when you first sign in. So this is New York City Transit. I don't know. But then anybody can research this. They're really New York City Transit. Wi-Fi. And I used to use their Wi-Fi also to the New York City Transit Wi-Fi. I used to use it to go online when I was homeless. After they killed my friend Erdogan, I was trying to help him with my court papers, against police for taking my home. So I used to come to all these train stations, not particularly this one, but different train stations, to go online and to watch the Nigerian Pastor TV Joshua videos on YouTube. And I'll be praying that God will make you successful in whatever you're doing. It's going to make you money. At that time, I was suing the police department, so I would pray alongside his prayer. And we're saying God told him, whatever you're embarking on is going to be successful. You're going to make money. And we'll pray, I'll say amen, amen. All of a sudden, they cut off my Wi-Fi. Anytime I try to log in, the Wi-Fi my phone wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. They blocked me. And I heard the U.S. military, a Russian military plane said they saw the U.S. military plane leave a German air base in 2014 and went into Nigeria and blew up the Nigerian church. Where the Nigerian pastor used to pray that any project we're backing up, we're going to be successful with the church members. And I used to say, man, I was a church member around that time. I said they blew up that Nigerian church in the U.S. military plane. And I said the Russians were monitoring the American air base in Germany because they were thinking America would send a plane from there to attack Russia. So Russia had their own plane station in the sky, just watching over their air base. And they were surprised when America brought a bomber plane in 2014. As soon as I sued the NYPD in America, and they killed my friend Erdogan in 2014. And then by November 2014, America sent a bomber airplane from the U.S. air base in Germany, and the Russians were following this bomber plane because they thought they were going to send it to Russia to bomb Russia, but instead started going to Nigeria. And the pastor just said he has a camera that was recording that plane, the church building, church building, and blew up the church building. And the U.S. military wouldn't confirm or deny it. So I'm just being terrorized, So I don't know if my mother's daughter is working with a U.S. security agency, because my mother said she was moving with some really dangerous looking people, and she said it's a very intimidating gang. So they say sometimes the CIA employs people, family members. Excuse me, don't bump into me, please.